she says she has one defined channel, the 2644. That's one of my defined channels. It's interesting to have one channel. You know, I do a lot of sessions and people have 6 channels or 5 channels, or you know, some people have one channel. Now, think about having one channel. It's really an easy focus. It's easy to narrow down, like, okay, what's your gift in this life? You know, what is your life force energy really bringing to the world? And it's just much more specific. It's kind of fun. Whereas, you know, a manifesting generator with 6 or 7 channels, they got a lot to work with. They can kind of, put things together in different ways, and different parts of them can come out in different scenarios. Where you have one channel, you know, you specifically know what you're here to lean into. And the 2644 is the natural entrepreneur, the natural salesman. Which when I heard the salesman part, I did not resonate, because I have a really bad taste in my mouth when I hear this word salesman, because you think of someone trying to sell you something that you don't want, or being deceptive or manipulative. And to me, that's not what this means at all. And if we look at this channel is so interesting because it's the only connection between the spleen and the ego. And the spleen is all about the body. It's all about health. It's all about our well-being. It's instinct in the 44. And the ego is all about willpower. And the 26 is the egoist and the trickster. So how do these two energies go together? And what does that mean for your frequency when this instinct is connected to the ego? And gate 44 in the spleen is connected to our cellular memory. So this, to me, I think the biggest gift of the 4426 is knowing how to talk to people. This is the design of a transmitter. So you're here to transmit something. It's tribal. It's going to be supportive to the people who share your same values. And my best example is when I do Instagram Lives, if I bring people on, I'll have 3 different people back to back. If I have the same exact thing to tell these people, I'm going to deliver it in an extremely different way depending on what I'm instinctually picking up from the aura of the person that's sitting in front of me. So this is like just being able to flow in the moment and to kind of match the energy of the person across from you, so you can tell them what you need to tell them in a way that you know it's going to land. So it's kind of like knowing what they want before they know they want it, or knowing what they need before they know they need it. And this can be really beneficial in delivering a message to somebody, because they automatically trust you. They go, oh wow, he's speaking my language. I'm going to listen to what he has to say, or I'm going to book a reading with him, or take a course. You know, it's because I'm able to naturally deliver it, and I'm not thinking about it. It's just, you know, you can see it in some of these replays. Someone shows up on the screen randomly, and all of a sudden I change my whole voice, or my delivery, or you know, different parts of me to fit this person. It's really fascinating. So I just this channel is such a gift when it comes to sales, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, having your own business. You know, it does not want to be controlled, and you're supposed to be the person who's seen. So if you're a 4426 and you have your own business, or you're starting something, make sure that you put your face on it, whatever it is, because your face just naturally has this frequency or this resonance that people are going to trust what you say, because you're able to deliver that message in a unique way, tailored to each specific person. Really cool channel. Okay, Tracy's getting back to us. It is the 2946. So this is the design of succeeding where others fail, or failing where others succeed. You know, in human design, everything's a binary, so you always have to flip it around and see the other side. And so this channel is a generated channel. It's coming out of the sacral center, and gate 29 is really where we commit to things as human beings. And what we're committing to really is an experience. This is, if you're responding with your sacral center as a generator, and you enter into a correct experience for you, you can succeed where other people fail. And 46 is, I think it's serendipity and luck. So this, and this is one of the 3 tantric channels too. That would be another conversation probably. So important as a generator, obviously. If you are responding to a correct experience, you are going to want to say yes to everything. Gate 29s like to say yes to to a lot of things, because what your sacral is really wanting is to commit to an experience. And the best thing that you can do for yourself once you do commit to an experience that is correct for you is to let go of your expectations. And we can see in these streams that we will learn the lesson in the end. When the experience comes to an end, what did we learn? What was it for? In that sense, you will have the energy to commit to take you through an experience that will be very, very successful for you. If you are out of alignment as a generator and you are saying yes to everything and you are drained and you are trying to sacrifice yourself for other people and you're people pleasing and all this kind of stuff, then it can be a very different experience where you are failing, where other people are succeeding, because it's not really for you. And the generator question that drives your existence and your incarnation is, who am I for myself? Who am I for myself? And I see that as probably the biggest conditioning force for all generators, because they know who they are for their partners, for their children, for their job, for their coworkers, for their boss, but they don't know who they are for themselves. So if you're using that channel to commit to everything for everybody else, it's going to be an experience of frustration and failure. So make sure that if you're a generator, you understand this existential question for yourself of, who am I for me? And you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of the people around you. And I did have, I had a generator client once with this channel, and what was she? She was saying that she got invited to go to like an event or like a gala or something for her work. And she wasn't sure she wanted to. And then she had a response that she did want to go. And so she was like, oh, fine, okay, I guess I'll go. And she went, and she ended up winning the raffle. And so it was just kind of a cute story to remember this, this serendipity, this being in the right place at the right time, succeeding where other people fail, if it lights you up. And that's the whole thing about the sacral center. If something, it's so hard for our minds. If you respond to something and you don't know why, and it might be weird, or you think like, oh, I'm too tired, why would I respond to that? The mind wants to completely rationalize it away. It's hard. It's hard to just surrender to, okay, I'm lit up, I'm going to do this thing. I don't know where it's going to take me, what it's going to bring me, how I'm going to look to other people, but for some reason I'm responding to it. I'm lighting up to it. So let's find out. Let's see where this takes me. And you might win a raffle. Yeah, I just won a raffle. I don't have a sacral. Ah, cool. Okay, let's see. I have the 2551 as my only channel, Ego Projector. All right, this is my only other channel. So, yeah, let me see if I can riff on this one a bit. This one, oof. I just wrote a post about this one not too long ago, and I've really been coming to terms with the frequency of this energy. All right, let's see where we can go. The 2551. I was listening to something last night, and Ra was speaking about the 25 in a very different way. So I've written a lot about this, so maybe let's see what comes out about the 25. Now, when you go through the wheel, we have these 64 gates of the I Ching, and if you go in order, around the wheel, they're not in order. It doesn't make any sense the way they're distributed around the wheel. It was just a revelation, and they were told, this is how it's structured. But if you go through them 1 through 64, when we get to the 25 is Ra says that the 24 is the artist. The 24 is where we first see, individuality and art. So we as people are actually art. And when you come to the 25, this is when we first see the con artist. And the 25 is where the priest sits. It's also where the shaman sits, and they're two very different ways to use this frequency. But the priest that sits there would say, you don't need to be an individual. You don't need to be awakened. I'm going to be the intermediary between you and God. So just follow me and do what I do. And every once in a while, I'll tell you what I heard from God and what He wants you to do now. So it's such a interesting channel, because the 25 can be the gatekeeper that turns you back to the tribe and back to sacrifice and back to all of these tribal responsibilities, or it can be the shaman where it actually assists you and initiates you into awakening, into your individuality, into innocence of loving yourself in the moment. So the 2551, it's the channel of initiation, and the thing to recognize about human design, about your frequencies and your energies and the gifts that you're here to bring. If you look at the 2551, you can only initiate people into awakening to the level that you're awake. You can only initiate people into love. 25 is this universal love, this innocence. You can only initiate people into how innocent you are. So the 2551, first, it's the universe initiating you. So you're the one who has to go through these sometimes really shocking experiences to be initiated, to find more of yourself, to find more love for yourself. And only once you've been initiated can you then live a shamanic life, or live a life where you're able to then initiate other people into that same level. So, the 2551, your life is a series of leaps into the unknown, leaps into the void, but you have the energy and the will. Gate 51 is in the ego. Gate 51 is the gallbladder. So you have the gall to land on your feet, going through these pretty intense initiations that I have found myself going through. So this is like a shamanic life that you can live. Ra had this channel. Osho has this channel. It is a very mystical channel, and it is the bridge between the tribe and between sacrifice and between family and being an individual and being awake, which is to love yourself in each moment. So there's so many different ways to speak about this channel, and that's the really cool thing about human design. When you really learn the body graph and you really learn the circuitry, and then you go through all these different streams, you start to see that the body graph tells a story. And there's different stories, there's different contexts around all of these different channels, depending on how you want to take a look at it. So I've really been looking at the 2551 lately in terms of the mystical way, and what it might mean to live a shamanic life, and to have this energy that lives inside of me. I've gone through so many initiations. I've given up, everything to follow this path, to find out who I am and to see what's there for me and really, really surrender. And so I'm capable of bringing that into the lives of other people. Now, it's not comfortable. And if you're a projector and you have this focused and penetrating aura, think about how that feels to another person. First of all, our auras are super intense, regardless of what frequency we have. Just the nature of the projector aura is so focused, so penetrating, it's so sharp, it goes inside of the other person's aura. So we're like digging a hole into the G center of the other. We're really here to see the identity of other people. Now, if you're a 2551, I like to say this is like plant medicine. That can be a very initiating shamanic experience, to go through a plant medicine journey. So you kind of embody, depending on how awake you are, or how much work you've done on yourself, or how many initiating experiences you've had, you kind of embody this energy of plant medicine. And if you are invited by somebody, you're going to put that frequency deep, deep inside of them that may start an initiation of them awakening to themselves. Which is like, people better be aware of who you are. People better recognize and really see who you are, because you can really start an initiating experience in them. And typically what starts in our initiation in human design is we lose everything. You know, for me, that was the first thing that happened, is like once I awoke into myself and I started to take a look around at my homogenized, conditioned life, I realized none of this is for me. No one's supporting me in being myself. They're supporting me in being miserable and being normal like everybody else. So, you know, typically in the very beginning of initiating experience, it's a lot of loss. And it's a lot of letting go of things that you thought were for you and aren't for you. And that can be a really, really lonely. But on the other side is more of yourself. On the other side is this universal love. On the other side are people who want to support you in being yourself. So I found for me in the very beginning, I had to let go of a lot. It was a year of loneliness. It was a long time of losing close friendships and relationships in my life. But after that, after I started to feel my own frequency and I started to get rid of this bitterness and feel a bit of real recognition, you know, that's when everything started coming to me. That's when I found my tribe, I found my people, I started finding my flow on different channels and getting business in different ways. So, you know, the 2551, that's I don't want to say anything's really a responsibility because we didn't choose it. You know, it's not like it was your choice and now you're responsible. But it would be an interesting question for you to sit with. You know, what does this mean to me? What is initiation? What have I gone through? What is a shaman? What do I see people wanting from me is an interesting question as a projector. Because, you know, again, as projectors, our biggest blind spot is ourself. So after a while, I started to see who would show up in my life. And now it's a lot of people who are on the verge of a major transformation. And they need some shocking energy to jump. You know, they need a little bit of initiation to get started, to take that first step into their awakening journey. So I really see, you know, hindsight looking into my design just based on the people that showed up and invited me, what this channel is capable of and what people are really wanting from the 2551. It's an interesting one. Another thing I said is that it's here to initiate an identity crisis in people, and that can be really terrifying. So think if you have the 5125 and there's people in your life that love your attention. You know, this is classic projector sacrificing themselves for others and just giving them attention. They don't really recognize who you are. They don't want your awareness. They don't want your insight. They don't want your initiation. They just want your attention. And then you show up and put this 2551 inside of them. It can be a really shocking experience for people, especially if they don't want to be seen. So the hardest thing I think about being a projector and having loved ones around you that want your attention but really aren't ready to be seen, it's so frustrating for us. It brings so much bitterness because you can't hide. And you cannot hide from that 5125. The initiation's going to come. So it can be really, really scary. I've had so many people on Instagram DM me and say, it's so scary to be seen by you. A, our aura, and B, this initiating energy of like, you cannot hide. I see behind your masks. You know, I can't help it. And I accept all of it and I want it. I want all of you. I don't want any masks. I can't do the mask. You know, don't even try because I see behind it anyways. But fuck, that's scary for people. And I think with this 5125, it's like, I can only have friends who are vulnerable and who are ready to admit their own bullshit, like I do with myself all the time. So I think it's a scary one to have, but it can be a very shamanic life for you when you align and wait for the right invitations, and the people who need you will find you, and I bet you'll find that it's the people who are ready. The people who are ready to jump. All right. Nina. Hello, Nina. Splenic Manifester. Do you have exercises on how to listen to the spleen? God, being splenic is so weird. It does not vibe with how society is set up, with the planning and the rationalization and the reason giving for the decisions that you make. I heard a lot of bullshit in the beginning when I started my human design journey of people talking about their spleen and saying, let me check in with my spleen and see what it says so I can make a decision here. And I actually love that this happened, because it's really something I hold on to illustrate how the spleen doesn't work, because we cannot consciously check in with it. So the spleen is so much faster than your mind. You know, this is intuition and instinct, and these are things that happen before the mind can even understand what's going on. So there really isn't any exercise in how to listen to the spleen other than, number one, getting out of your open centers and learning the not self themes of your open centers, because that's where your mind is gonna be stuck. And then, how present can you be in the moment? That it's such an existential life. And so I have really found throughout my life environments and situations that really force me to get out of my mind and just flow. And for me, this is surfing. And I really think being splenic, I think for everybody, life is surfing. There's so many amazing analogies that is just like, yeah, life is really like surfing. But especially if you're splenic, when I go out and surf, it's a dangerous environment. You know, we can drown in water. There can be really big waves. When I'm paddling on my surfboard and a huge wave's coming at me, I cannot be thinking. My spleen takes over and it starts to move me in a way that's going to keep me safe. It starts to move me in a flow where it's just naturally able to survive. You know, the spleen is all about physical survival. It's all about the body. It's all about well-being. It's all about health. So if you're splenic, you know, and shit hits the fan, everybody wants to be around you, because in a crisis situation, your mind shuts off and your body really takes over. So I would say, if you're splenic, to find activities and find places where you can really be forced to flow. And typically there's a bit of a danger element involved for me. Or even just nature. When I'm out hiking, there's so much stuff coming at me that my body is able to be alert. You know, the spleen is very much about being alert. I think gate 44 is alertness. So if you're stuck inside in a safe environment and you're spinning in your mind, all you got to do is just get up and walk out the door. Just go for a walk, because when we have stimulus coming at us and we're physical in the world, there's always a chance that something could go wrong. And this is what splenic people really connect to. You know, we know deeper than anybody how fragile life is. We're very connected to life and death. You know, gate 28 is this fear of death. So we kind of know as splenic people that it could be over any second. And this is why it's hard when someone asks you and you're splenic, hey, you want to hang out next Thursday at 4 o'clock? You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be here next Thursday at 4 o'clock. I could be dead. I could be in a different country. I could, who knows? I could be on another planet. The spleen is really the awareness that it could all be over. It could all be different at any moment. So for me, I found surfing, and this really, really helped get me in my body and sharpens my intuition. And just think about like reading waves. You know, so much of surfing is just watching waves and being able to instinctually predict when that wave is going to break, where that wave is going to break, which direction that wave is going to go. Because surfing, you're always having to put yourself in the right position. It's all about positioning. You know, if you're too far in front of the wave, it's going to break on top of you. You can't surf it. If you're too far behind the wave, you're not going to be able to paddle fast enough to catch it. So surfing is all about, I need to put myself in the perfect position to catch this wave and enjoy the ride. And you know, that's such an analogy for life. But I've read so many millions of waves that now when I look at the ocean, instinctually I can see where everything's going to break, what it's going to do, and all that, and that translates into my life and being able to read people and being able to read other energies. So it's very connected with nature. It's very connected, obviously, existentially in the moment, but it's not something that you can mentally work on. It's just an embodiment practice of how do I leave the mind behind. And you'll see when you're in a dangerous situation that it automatically goes. So that's been helpful for me. And I think water has a really interesting thing to do with splenic people also. So I think that there's really, really something special about water and being splenic. So you might want to explore that. I think judging on your profile picture, you might be a water person too. Okay, next question. Sacral manifesting generator 2-5, only the throat, the G center, and the sacral defined. Channels 2034, 2010, 1034, cross of consciousness 64, 63, 35, 5. I'm a cross of consciousness as well. Let's see, where am I gonna go with this one? You got the throat, you got the G, yes. So you're all integration. 10, hold on, I'm looking at it in my mind. The 10, 20, 34, the 10, yeah. So you're just missing the 57 over there, which I have, so I can plug in and bring some intuitive clarity to your 2034. Okay, let's see. There's channels in human design that are individual. So we have these kind of 3 circuit groups. There's more, there's different, there's smaller circuits, but just for this purpose, we have these 3 circuit groups. We have the collective, which is all about sharing with everybody. It's about moving society in a homogenized direction where everybody can be safe and kind of this like globalization movement that's been happening. And then we have tribal circuitry, which is very much about like, what are my values? Who is part of my tribe, and we're going to support each other, and then we're going to survive in these like tribal communities. So this is all about supporting each other. And then we have individual circuitry, which is all about empowerment, individual empowerment. It's very mutative. It's very much about bringing change into the world, bringing change to the tribe. The tribes couldn't only survive. They needed some, every once in a while, they needed to bring somebody in from the outside just to keep the gene pool healthy and alive. So it didn't become incestuous, So the tribe really needs the individual to bring mutation and to keep the health of the tribe alive. Now, the collective doesn't like the individual. That's a different story. But when we talk about integration, this is about the most individual you can get. It's about not just empowerment, but self-empowerment. So it's all about survival and self-survival. And it's all about kind of like lead by example. And you're going to be empowering people around you by being an example of being a human being, being busy with what you respond to, being busy, being yourself, loving yourself, gate 10. This can be seen as enlightened selfishness in a way. So when I work with these generators and these manifesting generators, typically what I find is there's a huge amount of guilt that they feel selfish and they don't want to be selfish. And so their question always to themselves is, how do I give back? How do I help the people around me? How do I sacrifice my energy for others? Because I feel so individual. I feel so selfish in a way. It really is an enlightened selfishness. And in order to help the people around you, you really have to take care of yourself first. And that goes for everybody, but especially these integration beings. So I would just, ask, is there guilt there? Do you feel selfish? Has so much of your life been wondering how to give back and to take care of the people around you and maybe be even too nourishing? In human design, there's channels of caring. and some people are really built to care. There's what we call the Mother Teresa gate, the gate 27, nourishment, and it goes to the 50, and it's really designed to be people who are can be very altruistic and caring for the tribe. Then there's other designs that aren't meant to care. They're meant to be more individual, or they're meant to be more collective. So I'll leave it there, but there's a lot to talk about integration and what we call this enlightened selfishness in human design, and what I see a lot of generators struggle with. Looks like a lot of other splenic projectors here. I'm a 3/6 splenic projector with the 1762 and the 1858 channels defined. Would love to hear your thoughts on these channels. Well, first, I just want to say, if someone is a 3/6, you can't pass up speaking about this profile, because it's such a wild profile to have. So we have the 3/6, and we also have the 6/3 profile. And the reason why this is so interesting, I'm a 1/3, so I know a lot about the third line. And the third line doesn't get a bad rap, but it's kind of a joke, because it's the most connected to the material plane, in the sense that it's here to bump into things and really discover through what doesn't work. So 3s are in this constant process of discovery through trial and error. That didn't work out. I can adapt. The 3 is the most adaptable, because when it doesn't go well, we're here to be resilient enough to stand up and do it again in the correct way, and then go along our learning journey. So the 3, it can get messy being a 3, and it can be kind of a wild ride, a very physical ride. And the 6, we know, operates in 3 very distinct phases in this life. So the 6 for the first 30 years is living as a 3. So when you see these two profiles, and these are harmonic profiles, they're really rare to be a 3/6 or a 6/3. It's not normal. The first 30 years of your life is going to be a 3/3 or a double 3, and that can be a really, really messy experience. Now, the issue can be for third lines that we've been conditioned to think we're never supposed to make a mistake, and the 3 is really here to make mistakes and learn through mistakes. And the 3 can get extremely perfectionistic and not insecure, but yeah, maybe a bit insecure. Well, that's more of a one-line quality, but still, being a 3, we can just be embarrassed of and never want to make a mistake, because we want to fit in and we want to be accepted. So I've worked with 3s who didn't allow themselves to go through the mistakes they needed to go through to learn this experiential wisdom that they're here to bring to people later on in life. So if you're a 3/6 or a 6/3, typically that's not the case. Typically these people have had a really messy experience those first 30 years, and they've learned a lot, and it can be just an interesting time. You might be able to write a book that could be very captivating and interesting. And then after 30, the 6 does the thing that we say that they climb up on the roof. The 6 wants to pull away, wants to get out of the messiness of life and just get a broader perspective and start to learn, okay, what did work and what didn't work, and what, how can I integrate this in my life moving forward. And the interesting thing with the 3/6 is you're always going to have that 3 pulling you back off the roof, getting you back into the mess. So it can be a really interesting profile to have, because you don't really get proper roof time, probably like the 6/2 does. The 2 is the hermit. So when the 6 goes up on the roof, the second line body is really happy. It's like, finally we get to take a break, where the 3/6 doesn't really get to remain on the roof always for that 20-year span. And then after age 50, the 6 wants to come off the roof and really embody this role model quality that you have. So 6s, and it's also an interesting thing to look at in terms of these other keynotes. The 3 is the natural pessimist, and the 6 is really this optimist. So you may be pessimistic about things, but also able to have a broader view and realize, oh, nothing's really personal. And the 3 is so personal, and the 6 is more, above the fray. An interesting one to think about. Hello, Gabriella. Gabriella has the 5027 channel, and she'd like to know my take on that channel. So I was talking about the gate 27 is the Mother Teresa gate, this gate of nourishment. Gate 50 is really about values, again, it's tribal, but values in terms of teaching. The spleen is really where all of our intelligence comes out of, because intelligence is rooted in fear. So the 50 is really, okay, what are the values, what are the important things that I think we need to teach our children so that they can survive, so that they can go out into the world, be successful, and then make more and continue the tribe, continue the gene pool. So 2750s can be extremely nurturing, nourishing people. They're very tribal people. I've heard in electromagnetic, where I have the 27 and someone else has the 50, which has recently happened, there can be a feeling of like wanting to have children, because this channel is where we nurture our offspring. If we go to the other side, the 59-6, this is intimacy and sexuality and reproduction. This is like, let's make babies. So it's about pleasure and pain. And once we have the babies, we shift over to the 50-27, and it says, okay, that's great, but forget about the romance, because now for the next 7 years, we're going to have to care for these kids. And how do we take care of these kids? And so the 50-27s can have remember, this is a generated channel. It's coming out of the sacral. So your sacral might respond to nurturing, to caring. And it can be for the sick, the elderly, the young, or it can be people that are just very much connected to the values of the tribe and what you think is important to teach and what the rules need to be, in a sense. So you have the unique ability to be trusted by people. If they want to know what's going on in the community, it can be great to ask you. You're actually someone who can even bring individuals into your tribe. You can be good at saying, "Hey, come on, and if you are open to these values, let me teach you a little something, and then you can become a part of whatever it is that I'm doing." But these can be very, very nurturing, very caring people, very, very trusted people. All right, KV, the conscious coach. Hello. What are your thoughts for a 2-4 energy projector to be able to have better levels of patience and manage their energy better? I sometimes find it difficult to let go, as if I need to put in extra effort. One of my teachers early on is a 2-4 an energy projector, and it was really cool to learn from him and get his take on that profile. And it's it's a funny profile if I think about it, because it's like, wait a second, the 2 is the hermit and the 4 is the networker. Are you a people person, or do you want to just be alone? It's a really interesting energies to balance there. And what he told me, which I really have seen in my personal experience, is that the 2-4 has the most amount of social demand placed on them, meaning people just want things from you. People want to connect with you. People want to ask you questions and invite you. So there is so much demand on it. Now, as a projector, we're waiting for invitations, and it's so important for you to use your inner authority to decide which are correct for you or not. The 2 is a line of projection. And you're going to want to at times be alone, take your hermit time, explore your natural gifts that you've been given, so you can cultivate awareness or cultivate skills that you'll be able to bring to your network. But you need that alone time, and the 2 is so selective with who it's going to let call you out. So the 2 is always waiting for a call. So you're going to have people in your life saying, hey, you should do this. Do you realize how gifted you are at this? Hey, maybe you should try it that way. So you're always going to have people wanting to pull you out of your hermit shell, break through these barriers that you have to intimacy to pull you out, and then bring your gifts to your network of people. So, how do you balance that? Are you feeling a demand from people around you? Are you feeling a social demand and then being way too available and giving too much of your energy so that you can get some sort of recognition and now you're exhausted? It's really up to you to find that balance and to realize you're not the networker alone and you're not the hermit alone. You're both. These both live inside of you, and you need to find, based on your strategy and authority, what feels good. What's the correct dance for you? But I can't even imagine, what that feels like. And I've had people say like, wow, I really feel bipolar. Like, this is so crazy the way you describe the 2-4, because I've always thought something's wrong with me. Like, how can I be so social and then such a hermit and go back between the 2? It's a really fascinating profile to have. I think I said once that people are the problem and the solution for the 2-4, and it's a weird one. It's a weird one to deal with. And think about the 4. This is your body. It needs trust. It needs safety. It needs to feel opportunity in relationship. So it's so important that your body feels safe, that your body feels connected, that your body feels like you can trust the opportunity of this connection of the person that's trying to call you out. If the trust isn't there, if the friendship isn't there, it's going to be really different if you answer this call because you're people pleasing or because you're avoiding truth and confrontation or whatever the case may be. Then if you've really given yourself the opportunity to feel safe, to feel like there is an opportunity here, there is a reciprocity in the energy that's happening, the energy exchange in this relationship. And so as a 2-4 projector, it's so important for you to see, is there real opportunity there? Is this person draining me, or am I getting as much out of the relationship as I'm putting in? And that's not a bad thing to ask yourself as a 2-4. We could think that might be selfish or sound weird that you're looking for opportunities in relationship, but really that's what your body's wanting. So I don't think I even answered your question, but let me see. Better levels of patience. I don't know what patience is, man. I'm just learning. I thought I knew what patience was. I don't know. I'm splenic. I'll be learning that forever. I think everybody will. But wait for the invitation. That's all I can say with that one. And it's been a sobering experience for me lately to come to terms with what waiting for the invitation actually means. Yeah. Tap into your bitterness. If you're bitter, you're probably not patient enough. Okay. Earlier, talking about the 5125, she says, thank you. That makes so much sense. Awaken myself before channeling through the other. Yep, I'm intense, and I've been shocked in my life. Yes, people want something from me, and I accept it. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. That brings up such a good point, though. You know how many people I know who are in the coaching space or in the healing space who haven't even surrendered or dipped their toe into their own healing, or they're delusionally thinking that they're healed or that they're in a place to give back to other people? It's really insane. people find this information and they're like, okay, I don't need to work on myself. I don't need to try this out for myself. I have something that I can now offer and be in service for everybody else. And it makes me fucking sick. All these people wanting to be in service. My life is about being in service of other people. It's like, you haven't even, you're so not okay and comfortable in your own skin. How the hell are you going to be in service to anybody? And this is maybe what the 5125 knows the deepest is you got to go through your own shit first. You got to have your own shocking experience. You got to have your own come to Jesus moment. You really have to look yourself in the mirror. And if you have any masks on, if you have any walls up still, then you are not in service to anybody. And you are just blowing up your own ego and wanting to have impact on people because you're conditioned to be a manifester and you think that somehow proves that you're worthy. And interesting that the channel of the shaman or the priest is attached to the ego. And you look at the medicine space, how many people are wanting to shock other people so that they can feed their own ego and prove that they're worthy or prove that they're a shaman or whatever when they're not even close, when they're so broken inside and still hurt. So this, this channel, it says a lot with these two centers that it's connecting, the ego and the G center. It's a bizarre connection, that one, to have the ego connected to the gate of innocence. And how when I look out into the world and I see these healers and I see these plant medicine people and I see these human design people and I see the gene keys people or anybody, that so many of them are hiding in it. So many people use these modalities to continue to hide and then claim that they're here to be in service of others, and they have not been in service to themselves yet. And that's something that I really think is coming. I'm going to put this out soon about the transits that are happening, because Neptune on February 10th is leaving gate 36 and is moving into gate 25. Whoa, with all the 5125 talk today, think about what that means when Neptune's going to be transiting the 25. Neptune is deep, it's mysterious, it works like really to clean out the gunk in there, but it's also a bit blinding and like you can't really see it while it's happening. So I really think Neptune moving into the 25 is gonna be here to clean out all the fake bullshit spiritual people that have been elevating themselves to the level of priest and shaman that are full of shit. And I think it's gonna bring a lot to the surface when it's done. I think it's going to expose a lot of people and a lot of there's so much out there in terms of awakening and working on yourself and all these different modalities, and they're a lot of them have truth, but I think people are using them in such a deceptive way, and maybe not on purpose, but again back to them, they're feeling inadequate and they want to have purpose. We all want to have purpose. But unfortunately, most of us have been taught in order to have purpose, we need to have impact. And that's let me try to be the manifester. Tracy says, referring to a comment earlier, it's why I love my projector mentors. They look right through you. We do. No choice. You show up in my life, it's like, oosh. So many times I want to tame my intensity. I'm an intense, passionate projector, and I see the effect that it can have on some people. Some people aren't able to handle it. Some people don't want to be seen. And I just have to surrender to it. I can't be any other way. I'm fucking intense, and this aura just gets in you. And that's the path I'm here to walk. I think when I'm out and about, I can wear sunglasses. That's really good. Just be careful with your eye contact as a alpha projector with the 5125. If I go around wanting to look everybody in the eye, that could be a little bit much. So just becoming aware when you start to align to your frequency as a projector, how intense we are, how uncomfortable our aura can really feel to people who aren't ready to be seen, and then be very careful with our eye contact and our connections. All right, I'm almost done. I don't know how many questions we have left here, but Kelsey says, I need you to make a post with this info so I can send it to my splenic partner. So good. Thank you so much, Kelsey. And I always forget to plug my offerings, but I'm going to be putting this on YouTube, and then I'm also going to be putting this on my podcast now. And so my mind's idea, and I'm not promising anything, but my mind's idea is to be able to offer this in a more digestible way. On YouTube, if I talk about a certain subject, you'll be able to click and go to that part of the video. I obviously think that will be a better user experience, and then the podcast would be easier to listen than playing back on IG Live. So that's what my mind wants to do. If you want to support me, you can go onto my Linktree and send a tip. I really appreciate it. Or you can become a subscriber. That really helps me out to continue to do all this fun stuff. And I'm really excited to hopefully do these more consistently. They're just a lot of fun. But again, I'm a splenic projector. I don't make any promises in consistency because I know how that goes. Nina, referring to the spleen, says, thanks for this, going to look for some danger. And yes, Surfer too. Yeah, we like the danger. Anne says, my best friend is a 6'3". I keep being surprised by what kind of stuff she gets herself into again and again. She's 32 now. Yeah. One of my mentors really early on in Human Design is a 6'3", and listening to the stories of her early years, I'm like, holy shit, you have had a wild life. But so cool when we survive that. I think this is why if you're a third line and you come to Human Design, it's so healing. Because for the first time I had somebody tell me, hey, you're here to make mistakes. You're here to get messy. You're here to learn what doesn't work. I'm like, really? I'm allowed to do that? And then you learn about how adaptable you are and how resilient you are and how it's so important for us to know what doesn't work. This is the other thing with plant medicine and my whole rant about spirituality earlier, of people just wanting to give you the answer and people just wanting to tell you what does work. That's great because it works for them. But there's nothing that universally works for everybody, even Human Design, not everyone's going to be interested in it. It does give each person a very unique path, so it is very different. But hey, I'm here to know what doesn't work, and that's been the most fun and the most rewarding and the most beneficial for me, even when it comes to business. People come to me because they want to know what doesn't work. They want me to hone in on their not self. They want me to shine light on their insecurities and illuminate it, not to give them the answer of how to fix it, but just to show them, hey, this is where I see that you're out of alignment. It's so obvious to me. So if you're a third line, don't think it's bad if you go through experiences and you're only focused on what didn't work. We're the natural pessimist. It's not like we're negative people, but we're naturally designed to hone in on the weak points, to see where the structure is failing, to always see what could be improved, and that's a huge benefit. So now I know I don't have to be pessimistic about it, but that's just where my awareness wants to go, because it's wanting to discover it. It's wanting to break it down. It's wanting, the third line's also the anarchist. So we want to burn the shit down that doesn't work, but I don't have a solution for it. I'm a 1-3. I'm here to expose it and burn it down, but it's someone else's job to then come up with a new solution. So we need the third line. The third line is fire. It's transformative. It's super mutative. It's what brings change through discovery, and it's a beautiful energy to have. Likewise, Art says, splenic projector plus motivation Desire feels like a paradox to me. Yeah, well, being a projector in this world feels like a paradox to me, right? It's the funny thing about, not the funny thing, well, I guess it is funny. When you look at your human design, there's so much that contradicts itself. There's these, like the 2-4 profile. It's like, how do you reconcile that? And that's the beauty of human design, because we cannot look at all of our channels and all of our gates and all of our variable and motivation and terminate. We can't look at all of this and consciously understand how the fuck it's supposed to work together. We're not that intelligent. We cannot go into the base layer of a gate, all of our gates, and then see how we're meant to live. This is why human design is so beautiful, because it gives us a holistic picture of how can we make decisions and align to these frequencies, so I don't have to fucking figure it out. Wait for an invitation. Okay, that sounds pretty simple. Let me try that. And then everything else falls into place. And these energies just start to show up and start to work. You don't need to know how your channels work. You can't, that's for you to, or you don't need someone else to tell you how your channels work. You are supposed to, once you get out of the not self, these start to come alive and they naturally just start to express themselves. I don't think I have a defined ego. I need to use my defined ego to shock people into an initiating shamanic experience. Like, I don't consciously think that. I just show up and my aura does the talking. So this is what human design is all about. We give you these two simple things, strategy and authority. And if you follow that, you will align to your frequency. And then when you show up in interaction with other people, your aura naturally does what it does. And you don't have to do shit. You just show up and start talking, or you just show up and hold space. And then it all happens. It's the energy. We're in an energy orgy with each other. We're always penetrating each other with our energy, or enveloping each other in our energy, or impacting each other with our energy. That's what we're here to do. It's not about the mind. We don't need to figure it out. So be very, very careful. This is such interesting information. We can go so deep, but don't think that you're ever going to figure out how it all clicks together, because it's literally impossible. And even if you have an open gate or an open center, it doesn't mean you don't have it. It means it's where you're conditioned. It comes and it goes, and that's not something to get rid of either. That's what life is all about, is being conditioned. It's what being here is all about. So too much is happening. And then we got the transits, and then we've got your upbringing, and then we've got our traumas, and it's just too much. So human design, it's like strategy and authority saves us from thinking that we can figure it out. And we do these two stupid little things and it all starts to flow. This is why it's so beautiful. But you get the con artist, or you get the fake shaman in the 26, and they want to tell you that you can figure it out. Just do this, or take more plant medicine to get these answers, or, contemplate the city of your gene key, whatever, and you're going to become enlightened. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's such a joke. It's so obvious to see that. That's not going to take you anywhere. It does nothing for us, but just mind fuck us. And this life is the biggest mind fuck ever. Why are we here? No one knows. Where am I going right now? Some questions, it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? We always just go back to that one and no one knows. We can't answer that. Does this mean anything? It's like, God, our poor limited minds. Human design has really taken me to a place of realizing how inadequate I am at figuring out anything. It's like, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know shit, and I'm never going to go know shit. And if information lights me up and is exciting, like human design is, that's great. But when it comes to my own life, my mind has no fucking idea what's correct for me. And it would not have picked this, not by a long shot. So I don't know where that rant came from, but all day, every day, says my personality sun is in 51. Let's go. All right. The gate of shock. Let's do it. Okay, I think that's going to do it for me. Again, if you want to support me and my work, and allow me to continue to do these rants and go to these random places. I so appreciate everybody being here. This really lights me up, as you can probably see. You can send me a tip on my Linktree or become a subscriber. I'm really going to focus on growing my subscriber community this year because I want to be a bit more exclusive. I want to be less available, and I want to work with people who are really on that verge of transformation, like we were talking about with the 5125, because I know why people invite me, and I know how important it is to have support. And to be a tribe, the 44. I'm an extremely tribal person. If you look at my design, I'm mostly tribal, with this initiating energy also. All right, let's do one more question and then I'm out. All right, we'll go back to KV, the conscious coach. Thanks so much thanks everybody for your questions today. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. It's my first time back in a long time. I was in a really, I was in hibernation mode. And the KV says, just one more question that has been humming in my head. Why is the pain of projectors not seen by most people? And it's so effing difficult to keep fighting my own battles. Correct me if I'm wrong. Excuse me. Thank you. This is a grounding question for me, so I can be a normal person when I get off this call. Think about the not self of each type. And we got to think about the aura of each type. When manifestors are angry, everybody's impacted. Everybody knows about it. Everybody can see their pain. They can't help it. They're impacting no matter what. The generator is frustrated, and they envelop you in it with this open, big aura that they have. I mean, they walk into a room, everybody is enveloped in their frustration and their pain. You look at the world, everybody, it's a frustrated frequency that we live in. It's so obvious to see. Projectors' aura only works with one person at a time. And if they don't look at you, they don't even know that you exist. I walk around in my house and I scare people all the time when they turn around. They're like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know you were there. I didn't hear you coming." We're quiet. We're non-energy beings. There's no hum of my sacral when I'm walking through the world. There's no impact of my energy when I'm walking through the world. I can hide. And even if I want to be seen and people don't want to see me, it's not like they're allowing this connection, So we have to be invited for someone to even know that we're experiencing pain. And for 20 years of my life, I was extremely depressed and unhealthy and having a miserable time. And I have an open solar plexus. I would smile all the time. My nickname was fucking Sunshine. And I didn't want anybody to know. So if you're a projector and you aren't expressing yourself and you're not putting yourself out there and you're not wanting to be seen, no one's going to see you. If you're a generator and you don't want to be seen, you can't help it. You're going to envelop them. People can feel you. If you're a manifestor, and the funniest thing is the manifestor not wanting to be seen and thinking that they can slide through a party hidden. Everybody's looking at them. Everybody feels them. So projectors are like this thing that, unless we're invited, we get no attention. We get no recognition. And if we go and try to get it and we want to put our bitterness inside of somebody, they're like, get out of here. I want nothing to do with you. I don't even care. That doesn't feel good. It feels violating. So it can be extremely lonely because we're not group people. You know, we're not meant to be part of a group. We're not meant to be part of this whole energy thing. And we have no buzz inside of us that says, I'm here. We have we just have a different frequency. And the energy types are so caught up in their energy that they don't even notice us. And I know where you're at. You know, we're not here to do it on our own. Our life is dependent on the success of other people. We're here to help. And no one has been taught that asking for help is even okay. So what the fuck are we doing here if we're not going to be invited? So that's why, for me, I think it's so important for projectors, number one, to come out as a projector, to speak to the world. This is who I am. This is what I've been struggling with. This is how I feel. Get it out there. Put it on your Instagram. I don't know. Put it out wherever it can be heard. You don't need an invitation to speak, you know. And then you'll see that you can't not be recognized. You cannot not be seen. But you first have to own the fact that this is your reality. This is your truth. This is who you are. I'm a projector. Not just because Human Design said it, but because when I read about it, it resonated so deeply inside of me. I knew it was truth. No one has ever described to me the way Human Design did when I read about being a projector. I'm like, this is the exact experience of my life. And every projector I deal with says the same exact thing. And we talk to each other and it's like, holy shit, we have the same experience of life. So find your projector friends if you can, because it's so helpful just to be validated in our experience. And we'll see each other. You know, we don't need we need the energy to survive, but we don't need those people to see us. We can really see each other and help each other out. And to know that you're not alone, but our aura is so different. Our energy is so different. Our frequency is so different. And it's until it's aligned, no one wants anything to do with it. Because bitterness, it's not a pleasant thing. And the way we can put it inside of people, it just pushes them away. It's extremely repelling. That was my post the other day. I said the word repelling really belongs to the not self projector, because that's what happens when we want to be seen so bad and we're so bitter and we try to get it. Everybody just runs the other way. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. So you're not alone. You're not alone. And it's great to have you here. And this is why I really wanted to get my subscriber community going. And yeah, maybe it will just be a projector thing. I don't know. I don't know. But we do need each other. All right, last question. Tracy says, how do we book a session? Thank you so much. I need someone to help me plug my business so I can keep making money here. There's my link tree on my Instagram will take you to a few different things. One of them says book a Human Design session with me. And one will take you to my website. One will take you to my link tree to send me a tip if you've appreciated all this information. And yeah, I do it soon. My prices are going to be going up after Human Design New Year's. I'm restructuring all my offerings. So I'm going to have a lot of new stuff coming, but it is going to be a bit more expensive because I'm going to be less available this year and doing some bigger, more long-term work. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. Sorry if I didn't get to your question today. This was super fun. I was actually really nervous for this one because it's been a long time and I still get nervous for these, which is a really good sign that it lights me up. And I will continue, probably next week. And thanks for being here. Appreciate you all. Love you all. It's good to be back. And thank you so much for the beautiful questions. And I'll keep you posted on how this is going to be transmitted and what platforms it will be on. So thanks so much. See you next time.